Welcome, everybody. We are going to get started on today's energy update. And I wanted to bring through a little bit of uh, a specific focus and a specific topic, as we are all also feeling this a lot. I want to say, um, we're going to dive into the topic of relationships and family. By the way, if you are here, you're welcome to say hi, and also so that I can check um, to see if I am receiving comments. Hopefully, I am. If you would like to jump in and say hi, you're welcome to. Wherever you are, I have 3 platforms open right now. And so, happy 25th. We are. Hi, Adrian. Welcome. We are just shy of being happy, we are shy of December 25th, Christmas Day, actual Christmas Day. I cannot even fathom that. It's so crazy. But we are moving closer and closer and closer. And it's more of for a lot of us, it's more of this like solstice energy that's feeling it's going to be really really big for all of us. And of course, holidays are always big. Holidays are always big because a lot opens up for us, and we come into this space where we are activated. And I know I talked a little bit about this yesterday about the activations that are very normal. But going with the flow, right? Learning, feeling all of these things that will come up because we will come into contact with more people, more family members. Um, right? It's kind of like this squeeze point that sometimes we like to say and we like to talk about. The squeeze point where a lot of things really do get activated and really do get squished, squeezed, squeezed out of us. And recognizing and realizing that the people around us, it really doesn't matter who it is, everyone around us has a really, really big role in this, in our lives. The people around us hold codes for us, hold keys for us, especially family. Family, too. Family is a big one. They hold certain keys that are activated. It's almost like we're here, we're in this world, we're in this experience, and we hide our own keys, which we do, right? Keys to our freedom, keys to our happiness, keys to our freedom, keys to all of these different things. We really do hide these things. And so hopefully the lighting is okay. Being a little concerned about the lighting. We hide all of these things. We hide the keys to our freedom, and we will have people that will shine some light into like those general areas where we hide these keys so that we can start digging, so that we can start feeling all of these things, so that we can recover. our own set of keys and use them, right? And open up those doors, open up those windows so that we can live in a whole new way. So when you allow and when you start to see that the people around you are activators, there's a shift that happens. We start to open up a little bit more to all these different experiences. We start to activate, we start to feel deeper things. And there's a moment when we start to embrace. We start to see what other people actually do. This isn't a, oh, everybody's out there, you know, to push me in like a harsh way. I'm the victim. Everyone's after me, or everyone is ruining um, my life, or everyone is the cause of my woes. Part of why we live within with other people, for the most part, most of us do. Okay. Um, there will be a moment and there will be a phase where we tend to just kind of keep by ourselves, right? Keep ourselves in our own little world. And that's also a big part of this process to honor. But for the most part, we have realities where we see other people and we come in contact with other people and we live with other people too. And these and all of these aspects of ourselves are activators. They come here to activate. They come here to push. Like I'm saying push now in kind of a generic form of like they push our buttons, but they push in a way to bring us more into consciousness, right? Pushes become nudges. Somebody was mentioning nudge the other day. Push has become a nudge. They're just like, hey, over here. They nudge, they point, they redirect. Okay. Our ego, though, will distract. It's almost like, you know, whenever you're pointing the fingers, it's like the ego will think, oh, I have to look out there, or I have to like protect from out there. When in reality, they're pointing three fingers back to themselves. And so, higher self soul knows that it's a redirection back to you. Everything will always be about going inside, going inwards, going back to this you, your body, your energy, your emotions, your consciousness. And we forget those roles. We forget that people come here. We forget that we choose certain people in our reality to play certain roles. And family is a big one. Family will always be a big one. And with that, our family dynamics are all changing and being upgraded. Okay. The family unit at some level needs to shift and needs to be upgraded. Okay. Part of what that entails is breaking breaking it open, breaking yourself open so that you can start to allow a new frequency, like a new family from within. Hi. Um Interesting. What am I receiving from that? So I'll share something with you guys. Something new that happened. Something very interesting. I am in a different location. Um, right now, I went back to the States. And normally, it's my parents and myself. We've been doing this for 3 years now. For different reasons. For various reasons, we do have to. They have to. And I come for the right and obviously come to visit as well, a family here. But this time around, it's only my father and myself. There was a big opening that happened. Again, and I use these words and I want to tie it to like, okay, these are part of, the ego thinks this is what's happening, but there's also a very big breaking, rupture, opening that happens with that. But, there was this little rupture, there was a little breaking point, there was this separation. And so, um, one of my parents stayed. And I knowing right what I know now and having gone through what I've gone now, having gone through what I've gone through so far as a family unit, this is very normal and very necessary. Okay, there are certain levels that we go through this. You'll go through breaking points, you'll go through the separation physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetic. Okay. And they will all sometimes happen at different moments, will happen at different phases. They will happen in different ways too. So it's not, so for instance, some of us might be just traveling a lot, moving a lot based on where we are, right? Work, business, whatever the case may be. And so that is part of the physical separation. That is part of the creating more space for you in order to release, in order to feel deeper levels of whatever family ties, whatever family stuff is inside of you. Sometimes these physical separations take different mold, right? Sometimes it'll be, maybe there was something that happened, a discussion or something that, kind of made way for the separation. And sometimes it's a more conscious separation where a family member says, I need this, I need the space, I need to be here, or I need to go over here. Okay. And that was me also back 5 years ago when I said, we're moving. I'm moving. I moved with my partner at the time, and we moved out of that family dynamic. We moved out of the city. Eventually, we moved out of the state. Um, the space that we need is so big and is so crucial. Um, these moments of coming together, it's this coming together, but then we come back to, right, our homes or where we're coming from if we're traveling. And it's necessary and it's part of the process and it's part of the journey. And again, I call it space. And space, it's part of the separation, it's part of the break, the break and the opening that we will go through inside And there will be levels of that show up in our reality. Same thing with relationships. I felt, and I had a really deep conversation with one of my um, soul family um, just a few weeks ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, about the space that we do need when we're in a relationship, when we are in a partnership, when we are in a union, when we're in a marriage, when we're in a family. There's so much space that we need. And I feel like a lot of us are starting to feel this. And a lot of us are not only feeling this, a lot of us are also starting to honor this in a whole new way, in a different way, in a bigger way. The ego wants the physicality. The ego wants, I want you right here, right here, with me physically. The ego has a very big sense of control. It controls everything because it doesn't remember and it doesn't know that things actually work to support you. The ego thinks it's the opposite. The separation aspect thinks it's the opposite. Everything is out to get me, destroy me, hurt me, whatever the case may be. And so it continues to live within this control mechanism. I need to control everything because if not, things won't go, you know, this way, or things will, you know, something bad will happen, something terrible will occur. All of these different, doom and gloom, very fatal things. And so your separation ego thinks that it has to control absolutely everything and everyone. This is separation energy that we all have. And so we live within this reality, very heavy reality and very heavy aspect of ourselves that thinks it has to hold on to everything and it has to control every inch, every ounce, every part of our reality and the people that we live around. It's exhausting. This is exhausting. But one of the things that happens is that we do not realize how heavy and how um, exhausted this is because we've been so disconnected. Part of what is happening right now at a collective level is that we are starting to go through a phase where we're starting to feel a lot more things. And we're starting to see a lot more things. And we're starting to come into consciousness in a whole new way, and in so many different ways. This is huge. This is needed. This is necessary, and this will continue to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And the decisions that we're going to start to make as a family, as an individual, as a partner, as a daughter, as a wife, as a husband, as all of these different roles that we have are going to change. The way that we used to do things are going to change. The way, the patterns that we used to hold and always doing things in this way are completely going to be blown out of the water. The way that we used to think, the way that we used to see, what we used to value is all completely and totally going to change, and it's going to get upgraded. I want us to really feel into that. Change is an upgrade. Change is a transformation. It's the transformation journey that we all go through. Because we're ready, because we're here, because we're in such a powerful dynamite dynamic transition. One of the biggest things that I had been feeling for the entire year is like this universal 9 year is so big, and everyone's going to be feeling it differently. Everyone's going to experience it in different ways, but this is an end of a lot of different things and a beginning of a lot of different things. The family unit and the relation and your relationship with yourself too, which is the biggest relationship, um, is going to be upgraded in the biggest of ways. Now, I'm saying that energetically. Okay. There's things, bits and pieces that may not fully physicalize, materialize, right, on the spot, right, this linear year. But oh, you will feel it and you will see it and you will experience it and you will know it come, as we come into the next linear year. Hi, welcome, Lisa. Oh, I forgot to share it there. Thank you. It is a big topic, and it's a huge topic for every single one of us. There's so many things, different things happening right now in this particular area, in this particular moment. Oh, okay. The relationship, the family dynamic, all of these different things are shifting. They will continue to shift. They will always shift. This is actually very normal and natural, but we've been resisting it for so long, and we've been resisting it in all different kinds of ways that have created deep wounds and really deep hurt, because we have not known how this conscious light family dynamic actually works. And we are like, we're starting to make a lot of progress in that, but there's a lot that entails that, right? Okay. Makes me emotional and hits the heart space the most. I want to move forward, but family is not there yet. Thank you for sharing that. You're definitely not the only one here. There's a lot of emotional stuff that will be activated with this. There will always be. Um, allowing yourself to continue. Okay. Exactly, wherever you are, wherever everyone is at right now, like physically, where are you? Where are you living and who you're living with? Okay. There's a lot that we that we need to do in that specific reality in order to kind of get more of the external wheels going. Like the internal wheels will always be moving, by the way. You're always going to be moving. You're always going to be progressing. You're always going to be, you know, you're always going to be movement, and movement alone is enough, right? There's always going to be a lot of momentum with that. And so know that every movement that you do in the reality that you're in is always going to be very important. It doesn't matter what kind of movement. I know part of what happens is a mind wants to do the really big jumps and wants to do the really big movements. Okay. My soul wants to grow and expand, but I feel like I can't do that in this container. Okay. So work with the like the little movements and the steps that you can do right now to allow that. Okay, so for instance, before I went, before I was able to move out of the reality that I was in, there were a lot of moving pieces that I had to go through. And so I knew that physically I had to get rid of a lot of stuff. I knew that physically I had to go through my things. And so little by little, you know, once every 2 months, every month, I would go and I would look at all my stuff, not all my stuff. I would just take one box, one plastic bin out of my closet, and I would just start taking things out, releasing things. I started to create a more physical space for me. And this is what I was able to do in that moment. Okay? There was a lot of emotional stuff that also came through for me. A lot of emotions that needed to come out. Um there was a lot of space that I needed to create for myself too. I was outside in the yard a lot, connecting and meditating. I was in my room also a lot during this journey. Um, all of these different things started to really come through for me to do because I could do. I could do those things there. I could do that in that space, in the reality that I was in. Right? Maybe not, maybe it was a little bit limited. I was only able to do that a certain amount of time. That's okay. Doesn't matter. Even if you can only do this for 5 minutes, even if you can just do this for 10 minutes, right? Um, my space was also expanded when I was in the car, when I would go, when I would go to work. Um, I would take moments during work and I would go outside. I would just be outside by myself, and it was just this beautiful, expansive moment for me. Okay. I started to do that more and more and more and more. And I took those as opportunities. I took those as gifts. I took those as humongous steps that I needed to take and that I could take. Because there's always going to be something that you could do. There's always going to be, your body's always going to be talking, the right soul's always going to be talking to you about, okay, what can I do right now? And there's always something to do right now. You're always going to have something that you can do right now in this reality to realign things, realign where you are right now. Physical things are always going to be a really big thing, by the way. Your physical world, your physical reality is always going to need to be moved and upgraded. Part of what our physical reality entails or is constructed on are physical things that we that feel a hole. There's a lot of physical things in our reality that fill a hole, that feel a lack, or at least we think they do. Hi, Forrest. Welcome. And so this is really, really important to start opening up to, first of all, getting rid of things that you no longer need. They don't even work anymore. Right? We hold on to, I'm just going to give like really super simple example like pens or just, scraps of paper. Like we tend to hold on to things that don't even work anymore, right? Like we keep pens that don't work. Like this might be small and insignificant, but it's huge because it reflects a lot of other things too. So starting to really feel and really start to observe what things around your house are you keeping that really don't work anymore. Don't like they don't need to be fixed. You need to just let them go or maybe donate them, sell them, whatever the case may be. But I can probably assure you that there's going to be at least something in your home, in your house, in your reality that you don't need anymore, that you have no use for. Your mind keeps it for a gazillion reasons, but your soul is not able to expand because you have that thing, that physical thing. Okay. It may be in good condition, which is why I said, maybe it's time to donate. It could be brand new. Doesn't matter. Give it another home. Break yourself free. Give yourself the opportunity to be free from this. Your physical world needs to support you at a soul level, not at the ego level anymore. And at some level, everyone has something around our house that was ego driven, that filled an ego separation need. And this is where we start to really see, this is where we have to start to observe all of the things that are around us so that we can start to move them, move them out. If you're not ready to get rid of that right there and right there, make a box, make a box, bring a box, or if you have a plastic container, and fill it with things that you're like, I do need to get rid of this, but I'm not ready to get rid of this. And start putting that there. Okay. Things that you know that you don't need, things that you know that they have to go. But there's still things in there, or there's still an attachment, there's still something going on. Put it in a designated box. Put it in a designated area. The other thing is that we have so many different things that support different things all around our house, which actually creates more overwhelm. And it creates more of this, I don't know what to do because it's everywhere, they're everywhere, and all of these different things are around my house, and going through them is painstaking. So that's what I'm feeling right now. Open yourself up to having a designated area, a designated box, or something where you can start to fill it with things that you know have to go. Okay. These are taking little steps. Okay. Sometimes we get overwhelmed because we think, oh my God, I have to get rid of all of these things, and it's just too much. Okay. I didn't get rid of everything in one sitting. I started to build my way up to that. And it took me over a year. And I say that also to kind of bring you into this. Some of us will go through, certain, like a linear time frame. Everyone's different. Um, Everyone will go through their own, timeline. But actually going through this for a year is actually quite normal. However, right now with everything happening, I don't even feel like that's going to be the same anymore. There's so much movement right now. Things that used to take years are now going to take months. Things that took months are now going to take weeks. Everything is just speeding up at some level. The thing is that part of what's happening also is this slowing down inside, which allows us to move. When there's a lot of chaos inside of us, which has been the case for a really long time, we're not able to move. We're not able to move as much, or we're not able to do the things that we really do need to do. We get distracted on chaos kind of movement, which is you move just to move. You move just to make yourself feel that you're busy or make yourself feel that you're being productive. But the movement that you're doing is not creating, you're not releasing in a way. So there's a lot of different types of movements. When there's more of this calmness and there's peace and this integration inside of you, the movement is different. The movement starts to become much, much more and like intuitive. Like you start to move from this new, from a space where okay, this really does have to be moved. I have to move this. I have to get rid of this. I have to remove this from my reality. I'm going to put it in this box so that I can just feel it, so that I can, whatever you're feeling guided to do, so that you come into a space where all of these different things that you have placed inside this box, I need to get rid of all these things. You come into a point and you come into a phase and you come into a moment where it's like, okay, I'm done. I'm ready. Like, everything in this box goes. Okay. Doesn't matter how long that takes. It really doesn't. Just allow yourself to become more open to this. Just allow yourself to start start now, start today, start after this. Interesting. There was a lot of different things that I had to get rid of. I got rid of pretty much everything. Childhood stuff, childhood projects, things that I had from childhood. When I was ready to move on from certain relationships, I would go into things that I still had. It's so interesting because the first time I did this, there were things that I still had from previous relationships. And you'd wonder, oh my God, why am I keeping this? This relationship has been over for years. And sometimes you forget. Sometimes you forget that you still have certain things. You know, when I was there, when I was starting to look at all these things, I was like, oh, definitely getting rid of this. I could have sold it, made some money. I could have, but I think I just gave it away, or I think I just threw it away. I mean, there will be different things that you'll feel like, okay, I just need to get rid of it. There were some things that were actually pretty big in value that I donated. I really didn't care for, making a buck. I Now Also, what happened 5 years ago is that I went through a very big move in a very short amount of time. And so I didn't have the luxury, I didn't have the time luxury. We just had a few weeks to get rid of and start getting rid of a lot of the things that were not coming with us. And so at that point it was like, just start moving them out, just start getting rid of them. And so a lot, we donated a lot, we did sell a couple things, um but there were a couple things that were tied to different versions of myself, certain aspects of myself that were still, uh, they were the old me. And so that, with the not having the luxury of time, it was like, I just want to get rid of all these things. I just need to donate. And yeah, there's tons of things I went to Goodwill, tons and tons of things that I just started to give away. Um, part yeah, that's another big one. Really feeling into the things that you have that tie you to a different, older uh, aspect of you, a more insecure aspect of you, a more controlling aspect of you, a version of you that, you know, it's traumatized. All of these different things, so that you can start to again move those things out. Okay. The emotional purging, this isn't linear, guys. And I say that because while those things and while those objects that you may have that are attached to another version of you might get activated in that moment, just know that it may or may not. Those aspects, those emotions may get activated as you're moving these things, but maybe they won't, right? What tends to happen sometimes is that you'll go through the emotional purging, the emotional clearing when you're not moving, when you're deep in the emotional state and you're just kind of like in this, you're deeper in that process. You'll go through, in my experience, this was what happened 5 years ago. I would go through deep emotional purgings. Um Most of them anyway. I did go through emotional purgings as I was moving and cleaning all these things. But I went through an emotional purging when I wasn't in this physical movement. Emotional purgings usually happen when the emotional movement is huge. And so there's not a lot of physical movement going on. This isn't all the time though. This is quantum, so just go with the flow. But I remember that when I hit that point 5 years ago, that I had to get rid of a lot of things because we couldn't fit them in the car. Basically, that was the biggest thing. Like, we can't fit everything in the car, so we got to get rid of it. When I was more in that movement, I had already gone through the emotional purging that I had to, and so that allowed me the opportunity to move more, move quicker, move faster. And this is why one of the biggest movements is always going to be this emotional mental movement that you'll go through, that is being activated right here, right now, especially through who's around you and who you live with, so that that emotional baggage can be cleared, so that your emotional baggage can be moved, so that your emotional baggage can be released. Once your emotional baggage starts to get cleared, once you start to release it a little bit more, it makes it easier for you to move your physical baggage. it makes it easier for physical things around for you to move all of those physical things around your home. So lots of movement, lots of movement. Every time I see a U-Haul truck, I'm like, oh, that's movement. A lot of movement. Just seeing one thing, but I mean, just seeing one truck is a lot of movement. I've seen, well, probably like 5 or 6 since I got here. That's a lot of movement. Um, internally, externally, physically, and obviously, like, well, I don't see those because we don't have U-Haul in Mexico. So when I come here, I have my little signs of like, oh, there's movement. The other really cool thing that I saw yesterday, I was playing up with here with my nieces, and the number of planes, saw maybe a couple jets maybe earlier yesterday, but the number of planes was insane. So obviously there's a lot of movement with that, but for me, it's more of this higher, going higher, um, upgrading, the transformation, the up leveling, the reaching higher dimensions. Oh, it's massive. So, 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 so massive. Right now, we're deepening into our process, and we're deepening into our journeys so that we can start to go through more of that up leveling, that transformation. Um, however that is programmed, however that, evolves for you. There will be moments where it's just going to be you. There will be moments where your family is also choosing this. And so your family will go through different things. Okay. I know that different members of my family are also choosing this because of what's going on with their bodies. There's a lot of clearing going on. There's a lot of release. There's a lot of movement happening in the body right now. And actually, my parents are going through a lot of that too. So I know that their bodies are doing a lot, clearing a lot, so that they can also be more ready and be more stable. Oopsies. For all of these different changes that are coming, all of these different massive, massive, massive things that they're preparing for. Your body's preparing you. Our bodies are preparing us. Everything that you feel in the body is supporting you. Everybody that you live around, everybody that you have contact with, is also somewhat receiving these things. Like when you're in a field with someone, when you live in the same space, there's so much transfer of energy. There's so much that happens. Our mind doesn't really believe it. Our mind doesn't see it. Our minds reject and resist it. Our minds get used to versions of our family members, which is actually also a version of you. And that is a part of us that needs to dissolve. The part of ourselves that is still attached to the versions of our family members that we do not, that we don't like, that we don't, right, that we don't get along with, all of these different things. The version of yourself that is keeping that aspect of them is inside of you, and you are still not letting that one go. You're still not feeling it fully. You still haven't integrated it. Same with me. There was something that opened up yesterday, and I was like, and the more that I just connected with it, the more the emotion came through, and I started to feel it a little bit deeper. This version of ourselves is the biggest attachment that we have, because is what most of us have all only known to exist. We haven't fully been in this pure connection with our soul enough to know that that's the version of ourselves that we are. We're still more in this version of ourselves that's small, that's not enough, that's not good enough, that has to keep trying, that has to that has to do XYZ to feel worthy. That's the part of ourselves that we still have this attachment to. And so just allowing yourself to feel, allowing yourself to see, allowing yourself to observe that aspect within you. You want to know when this aspect comes through. And part of how this dynamic has worked is that we've been so separated from this aspect that we don't even know this aspect. We don't even know when this aspect comes through. We don't even know when we're talking as this aspect. We don't know that we're in this aspect because it's been separated. It lives in separation. So just start to observe yourself a little bit more. Start to see yourself in a different light. Start to see what aspect of you comes through. Because we need to know everything about this aspect. We need to know everything about ourselves. And that's one of the biggest lacks we have, is that there's, we don't have, this isn't in the educational system. This isn't in our family unit. This isn't in the old systems. The self-awareness piece, the self-observation, the really getting to know you part. That's one of the biggest things for all of us, that we don't know ourselves enough. But that's all changing because we're here. And if you're here and if you're listening, then you are much more open to this, and you are much more ready to start to see all of these different things about you. You're ready to feel and come into a deeper contact with all of these versions of yourself that are still running the show. So, there's anything that you guys would like to share or say, probably going to keep it within the hour. Right now that I'm here, we are going with the flow, but I did feel that this would support. I am, however, going to be continuing to open up, continuing to share my light school, building the light school, building all of these different things to support you, classes and groups, courses, workshops, all of these different things inside of it. And so if you haven't signed up, I'm going to put the link in the comments if you would like to receive more information, if you would like to receive more support and just get updates on what I'm doing. I am going to be launching it today and opening it up um, in a bigger way, a different way today. So I'm going to put the link there so that you guys can sign up. Um, yeah, we'll be able to go a little bit deeper. There's so many things. There's so many things to this. Family and relationships will always be a huge one. Part of the movement that's happening right now is, again, part of this like separation that's happening within that will reflect in our family units. This opening up, and as you open up, there will be things. The separation will always bring to more union. By the way, will always bring you into deeper levels of union. Will always bring you into deeper levels of union, and that's one of the biggest things that we have to really open up to. Our mind doesn't see that. Our mind just gets to, oh my God, there's a rupture. Oh my God, there's separation. I have to physically separate. And it builds on that lack. And one of the biggest things is that as you separate, there's, when you separate, it's like a door opening. When a door opens, the physical door has to separate right from the, whatever you call it, from the wall in order to open up. This is very normal. This is very natural, right? Um, when there's a separation, there's a deeper union. There's a deeper union that happens within you. And that's one of the biggest, that's the most transformative, that's the most powerful one to allow. This is also part of the reason why we need so much space. The space that one needs can only be reached when you're in your own space, when you don't have a lot of people around, when you don't have this constant bombardment of energies. And this could be simple, this could be small. You're right, going to the park, going outside, right, going for a ride by yourself, connecting, being in your space, going into your little bedroom, going into your bedroom alone, just allowing that space for you. Everyone has what they need right now, where they are. Like you have things that support you, and you have enough to support you to get you to the next phase, the next quantum jump, the next big reality. But it's almost like you have to be so open about everything that you have right now, and you have to make use of everything that you have right now, and you have to know how to utilize everything that you have at your disposal right now. You want to be more creative. You want to be um, more creative. You want to be more resourceful. You want to be more imaginative, like, because you want to be able to use everything that you have right now. And most of us haven't. And I'm talking to myself too. Like, there's so many different things that I know are my moving pieces that I haven't moved yet. There's so many things in the reality that I am right now that can support me more. So I need to know how to utilize them more. I need to know how to open them up more. I need to know how these things work. Like all of these different keys that are right here, right now, haven't yet been used. And we must open up to all of the keys we have right now, because though when we come into this reality and we start to open up to all the keys, that's when the bigger keys appear. And that's when we're able to open up the bigger doors. But right now, there's so many different keys that we still have access to, or that we have to access, that we haven't just yet. And so, opening up to this awareness of these keys, asking yourself, what keys, is this person showing me? What keys are they guiding me to that I still don't know, that I still haven't accessed, that I still haven't allowed myself to feel into? We'll actually go deeper into that um, inside the light school. Again, I'm building it up, and I'm going to be bringing um, more videos, more like mini video courses and meditations and clearings for you guys. And so that feels like a topic to go into. And I'll share more. I'll send an email so that everybody knows um, how it will work. But I'm going to probably leave you with that. Oh, good. Just purged a bunch of, we'll just purge bunch of stuff out of my junk drawer. Yay. Did you just do it right now? Or have you been doing that? And obviously that's, everybody has a junk drawer. Everybody has a lot of things. Very cool. Yay. It's a process. But I feel like even having a space where you guys just put in those things that this pen doesn't work. Those things that don't work, those things that don't support you and serve you anymore at the highest level. Those need to go into those drawers. Those need to be moved away. Moved. Oh, good. Been getting rid of a bunch of stuff the last couple of months. So awesome. This is what I mean by it's a process. And if you're already doing these things, they already support you in so many big ways. You are preparing yourself, because a lot of things that we have right now can't come with us. A lot of the things that we have hold versions of ourselves that cannot come with us. And so just opening yourself up to that, opening up to the physical things that you need to get rid of. You're so welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being you. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. Thank you, everyone here, for receiving and listening and just being in this humongous transition that we are in right now. It's huge. Sometimes we don't see how huge it is. Sometimes we do. Sometimes it scares us. Sometimes it overwhelms us. Sometimes it's too emotional. It's going to be absolutely everything. You're not alone. You're not the only one. but it's all movement and everything is moving. And that's one of the biggest things to recognize and realize that everything is moving. It's upgrading. Everything is upgrading. Everything is upgrading. Everything is transforming. So, with that, sending you all a huge hug. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure that you are that you sign up for the email list. Just if you want to just get updated, if you want to come be a part of this light school, you're welcome to. I'll see you inside, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.